Hey gang, we'll be hitting our ankles today and an ankle smash and floss. You'll need a lacrosse ball. So what it's basically going to look like is it's going to be a twisting motion while you floss around by pointing the feet around, flexing, plantar flexion and extension, and you'll hit the lateral side as well. So let's just talk about this really quick. Basic points of performance are with the lacrosse ball. Or actually no, let's talk about anatomy first. So you got sort of in your ankle, there are these like saddles. This is where the shin bones kind of go down. They're the big bumps on both sides, kind of saddles. What we're going to hit are these U-shaped saddles around the ankle bones. And those are tracks where a lot of the flexion and extension muscles go from the foot into the calf. And so there's a lot of junk that can accumulate here, especially from jumping, from running. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of gross tissues here. So we want to smash it around. This is one of my favorite ones to do, especially when I watch TV and they're just sitting around doing a whole lot of nothing. So some basic points of performance about this mobility prescription is you want to make sure you get your lacrosse ball and you press, but you also twist. So the twisting motion is really grabbing the tissues and making sure we're really smashing it around and hitting it real good. So it's not also just twisting one direction. We want to twist counterclockwise and clockwise. So we hit both directions, because maybe some of the tissues might be only junky in one direction, or it's really great to hit it in certain or other direction. Just hit the whole global surface. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend 2 minutes on the medial side, 2 minutes on the lateral side, and we'll spend of the 2 minutes on each side, we're going to spend 1 minute going clockwise twisting, and the other minute going counterclockwise twisting. That way we even it out, make sure we hit both sides really evenly, really aggressively. So what you can do is you can spend 30 seconds, the first 30 seconds, just sort of smashing around, getting used to it, just being like, ooh, this is a little spicier than I thought it would be. Just twisting around. And then you can really, for the second half of that first minute of that direction, you can then start moving the foot around and engaging the foot. And you don't need to necessarily just hang around the saddle. You can also hit this part right above the arch. That's another really good spot, especially while you flex and extend. So it's really pressing as hard as your body wants you to press while you twist. And the twist is so important to get that good grip on the tissues. So lacrosse ball is really good. It's really spicy, but you also might want to use one of the Yoga tune-up balls by Joe Miller. That can also really grab those tissues much more gently, but much more deeply as well. So the big twist, flex and extend, you floss around once you get cozy, and then change direction, twist around, just smashing, just getting those tissues nice and warmed up, so that what you can do is then you can start flexing and extending. And just play around with it. Maybe you spend more than 4 minutes on each side, but you really want to explore the whole saddle, because this whole area is where a lot of tendons go through and connect. And on the lateral side, so that was medial side, the inner side. Lateral side is really the same thing. It's going to be a little bit more awkward to hit, especially if you don't really have the mobility to do that little sweep. But just try to find a way to hit it on your own. Maybe you're kneeling and then you let it sit off to the side. But you really want to make sure you hit the lateral side as well, because there's a lot of junk. I have a lot of junk on my lateral side, especially on my right foot. And this is the same basic stuff: pressing, twisting, and then once you get that first 30 seconds down, then you start flossing around, extending, moving the toes, getting a good grip. Imagine you're with your toes, you're just grabbing a ball and you're trying to press away from the ball. And so the test and retest for this mobility prescription is you can stand up, and then you can kind of like go do some like twists and pulls, just really trying to get the ankle through as much range of motion as possible. And then afterwards, you'll see if you get any more range of motion. Or alternatively, what you can do are very slow and very controlled ankle circles. And you'll notice that even me, there are areas where I kind of speed up and skip. I got this from Brian McKenzie from CrossFit Endurance. Right around here is where I skip. That tells you a little bit. That tells you something, that there's, for some reason, your body doesn't want to go through it. It wants to skip through it rather than go nice and slow and controlled. So if you got those skips, that's probably exactly where you should be slowing down. So those either you can test and retest either by using the circle, seeing if those little skips reduce, or you can do the ankle crank as I did when I stood. And so when I would do this before or after you do any box jumps, jump rope stuff, anytime you're really aggressively flexing that ankle. And if you have any foot pain or tension, it's a really good one to do just as a sort of catch-all. Just smash it around, see how it feels afterwards. And especially if you lose range of motion, This is also a great one to do if you're sitting for a while. Maybe you're in a car and your feet are just kind of gross turned off, and then this is a great way to put some life back into those ankles. So remember, 4 minutes each side, 2 minutes on the medial side, 2 minutes on the lateral side, and then you're spending equal time twisting in each direction, counterclockwise and clockwise. Enjoy.